Welcome back, guys and gals. Welcome back. Good morning to you. Good morning to you, Steve. My name is Joseph James. I'm here with my partner in crime, my better-looking half, Marty Errico from Traders Audio, and we're both here today to bring you your crude oil morning prep. Once again, my name is Joseph. Every morning I run a live trade room at SchoolOfTrade.com. Come and see me at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. We offer a free trial right on the website homepage. Check it out. Come out and see me every morning at 8 o'clock in the morning. With me, my better-looking half here, Mr. Marty Errico from Traders Audio. He runs a live broadcast every morning at 8:50 a.m. Eastern Time. Check him out at TradersAudio.com. You'll be happy you did. Marty and his partner Jeffrey do a great job every morning at 8:50 broadcasting from the NYMEX exchange, right? Talking about crude oil and natural gas futures. All righty. Going from the screen here in Los Angeles to the trading floor in New York City. My job this morning as a technical analyst is to provide you, using charts, with a top-down approach, analyzing what's happened over the past few weeks, the past few days, the past few hours. We'll take a look at specifically what's happening overnight in London, and we'll try to anticipate the direction at the open. If I can anticipate direction at the open this morning, well, then I can find those high percentage trading opportunities beginning as early as 8 a.m. Eastern Time today. So my job is pretty simple. Top-down approach means I'm going to start with slow time frames. I'm going to work my way all the way to analyzing what's happening overnight, specifically coming out of London. I'll try to anticipate direction at the open, and with that direction, using support and resistance levels, I'm looking for high percentage trading opportunities starting at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Now, once I'm done looking at charts, once we're done going over the lay of the land here this morning, I'm very excited to be able to have Marty with us today because he's going to provide us with our pit analysis. This is the information that you only can get by braving the elements, right? Sitting on the train, braving the ferry, right? Getting into the city, getting down on the actual exchange floor. I don't want to do it every morning. You don't want to do it every morning. That's what we got Marty here for us. Marty's going to be right on the floor for us this morning, giving us the pit analysis. Very valuable. Most of us don't have this information throughout the day, and he'll be providing us with market direction, intermarket divergence. That means looking at crude oil futures, RBOB gasoline, heating oil, and Brent crude, looking at market internals, option prices, and those always important and sometimes a little bit confusing for new traders, those pit session trading levels. Remember, when Marty's talking about the pit session trading levels, he's referring to the regular trading hours, comparably speaking to what I use, which is the electronic trading hours. There's no right or wrong answer. We're going to use these in combination today. And so make sure you listen in towards the end of this today to get a glimpse at Marty's pit session trading levels. All righty. Now you have the layout of the land this morning. I think it's time to kick some butt here. Get ready for this day. We have an exciting opportunity here in front of us. Now we go into fall trading. And as I was just talking to Marty, we have an even bigger benefit. We have a little soap opera that's developing. Oh, wow. Didn't you know that trading was filled with drama, right, and suspense, and Obama's cheating on this person, and this person's having a baby with this guy, right? Oh, boy, it's like watching a soap opera right now, all the news coming out of Syria. We'll talk about this a little bit more here. We'll listen to what Marty's seeing from the trading floor, but what I'm seeing in the news feeds this morning is that soap opera begins to develop. We talk about this morning here, and again, you can go over to sidewaysmarkets.com and grab a copy of this morning prep this morning. Posted every morning here before we get started. And you can see here, news overnight, we heard from the U.S. Foreign Relations Committee announcing a resolution draft on Syria. There's a hyperlink right there for you if you want to read all about what exactly that resolution draft is saying. But basically, it gives Obama 90 days to execute military action. Possible 30-day extension, does not include any U.S. forces on the ground, at least not yet. I could easily see how that could change. So that's what we know right now. And boy, from looking at the charts this morning, which we'll look at in a second, it appears most of the U.S. traders haven't quite wrapped their arms around this yet. We're right in the middle of the range on crude right now. This looks like we should be going higher today, right? If we're going to be going into Syria, if we are opening the door for military action, you would think the concerns over supply, the concerns over demand, you would think all of this would be bubbling up early this morning, but it's not. So it's interesting to see this news really has not taken hold yet this morning. We should see some reaction coming out after 8 a.m. this morning. Focal points this morning, we got great news here coming out of Europe. they're thinking that this might be the worst behind them in the ECB. So we get some positive news here week after week coming out of Europe. That's a bullish sign. We get a big news report today in the U.S. from our beige book and our international trade, and that will kind of highlight if that international trade number comes out strong with, of course, exports, right? We, of course, know that the foreign economies, foreign outside the U.S., would be strengthening. So very interesting there to see some positive numbers coming out of Europe. Haven't seen those in quite a while. And, of course, the U.S. majority of the U.S. traders will be focused on that Fed's beige book report later on today. 2 o'clock this afternoon, we hear from the Fed's beige book, and don't forget that. All right, so looking at the news for today, as we always do, we begin each morning by going over what day of the week, what week of the month, what month of the year are we trading in right now, and who's with me here. We get the day is Wednesday. This is the month of, or this is the first week of the month, and the month of September. All right, what do we know about this? Well, and again, we know this is a shortened week because of the holiday on Monday, the Labor Day holiday. So we made it through Labor Day. We made it through the first day back. Boy, had a great first day back. Lots of easy patterns yesterday. And then, of course, this morning now, Wednesday the 4th. What do we know about a Wednesday? Well, Wednesdays are typically inventory days, but not today. That inventory day has been pushed back till tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Now, sometimes they switch this around. Sometimes they'll put it at 11 o'clock tomorrow. Sometimes it'll get moved up to 10:30 tomorrow. I have a feeling that we're probably going to see that at 11 o'clock tomorrow. But just so you're aware, that may change. I've seen it happen before. Bottom line, we know today does not have the usual stigma that surrounds it, right, which would be, of course, according to the inventory report. We're talking about crude oil inventories here. What do we know about the first week of the month? The first week of the month, speculative buying, speculative selling, hedging. We'll let Marty talk about the people he's seeing on the floor, but typically the first and the last of the month, we're going to see people such as cruise line, right? Cruise lines buying jet fuel for airplanes, gassing up the big cruise line boats, making sure that hedgers are protecting themselves against rising energy costs or rising fuel costs, right, throughout the month of September. So lots of different people, whether you're a shipping company or an airliner or a cruise liner, lots of people consume crude oil these days, and they, of course, will be coming in early in the month to hedge their bets against, of course, rising prices in the future. So first week of the month, we do expect to see some volatility here this week. And, of course, the month of September. The month of September is always a little bit of an oddball transitional month. We're not in the summertime yet, but we're not exactly quite in the fall yet. So today is going to be another one of those transitional days. And then we have this issue coming out of Syria, which is just throwing a little bit of it's throwing some sawdust into the mix right now. It's slowing things down. It's kind of gunking up the whole system right now because everybody appears to be a little bit distracted by what's coming out of Syria. And of course, just like we thought last week, that's probably going to continue over the next foreseeable future. So we don't expect to see this issue with Syria go away anytime soon. But we know the month of September, we're finally in the fall. We're finally back on track. We're finally got the summer doldrums behind us. The price action is only going to get better from here this week. The one last thing here that we have to remember is that this is a shortened week. And so one last thing to remember, a shortened week reminds us, be aware, certain things are not going to be happening the way they normally do. Most traders are creatures of habit, which means we're used to seeing the same things on Wednesdays at the same times, the same things on Thursdays at the same times. Just be aware, when we have one fewer day this week, that throws everything off 24 hours. So just be aware of that, all right? If you're a trader looking at things on a day-to-day basis like that, just be aware. Things are going to be pushed around a little bit in this shortened week. Major Red Star news today we have Wednesday, September 4th. We've got 8:30 a.m. Red Star news. Why is this important? Red Star news tells us more people participating, more volume, more volatility. Red Star news is always something we're watching out for, and this just happens to be the first news of the session today, which is exciting because now we can look forward to, well, a nice big opportunity to get some money in our accounts bright and early this morning. Okay, yesterday morning we had to wait a little bit. We didn't get our first trades until after 10 o'clock yesterday. This morning we get that big Red Star news at 8:30. That's exciting for me. Later on in the session we have Fed speakers at 12:30 and then 8 p.m. and then all eyes and ears this afternoon will be on this beige book. Now, the beige book, remember, the beige book is the notebook of all the 12 different Federal Reserve banks across the country. So we're going to see, well, we're going to read in the beige book what the economic conditions look like across the country here in the U.S. This is huge. This beige book comes out 2 weeks before the FOMC meeting, right? 2 weeks from now, there'll be another Fed meeting. This topic of Fed tapering, this Fed speak we've been listening about, right? This Fed tapering term, which again, you can find more information about on our blog this morning, learn more about what Fed tapering is and how it's being used right now. But bottom line is this beige book is going to be a major, major glimpse into the future as far as Fed tapering goes, and most likely what's going to be looking at going into the end of the year, right? So end of the year is a very important time of the year, and we know that beige book's going to be giving everybody some clues. So we will be excited for opportunities early this morning at 8:30. We will be patient to wait to see what the beige book comes out at later this afternoon. And don't be surprised if you see some fireworks going off at the close this afternoon at 2:30, right? That 2:30, that's the close of the pit, right, here on the NYMEX exchange. So don't be surprised if you get some late afternoon fireworks after that beige book comes out. All right? So now that you know the plan today, first week of the month, middle of the week here in a shortened week, and let's jump into some charts here, JJ. First thing we'll do is grab our 30-minute. This is my VIP chart because all I'm looking for here is the very important price levels on this chart. First of all, two big clues that I see here on this VIP chart. The first one is look at where we are in relationship to the previous highs and the previous lows. I use this just like a market profile trader would use this to find the value area low and the value area high. Okay, so think of it in that terms. I love to use market profile theory, even though I don't use market profile the way that most people have been, or I've been exposed to it before. All right, my good friend Peter Stettlemeier, he, of course, created market profile, and his goal of that was to show value, right? Value in its, of course, where we are in relationship to the value area bracket. So where are we right now? We are below the value area high, below the value area low, right? Again, it's not the exact value area high and value area low, but the previous high of day, right, and the previous low of day. So yesterday's lows, yesterday's highs, those will act as support and resistance. More importantly, we have the previous high of day above at 110.07. That will be additional resistance. So we have support below us. We have resistance above us. These are going to be excellent profit targets if I'm buying or selling today. And remember, for all of our members out there listening right now, we use these previous highs and previous lows for our inside-out setup. So keep an eye out for that inside-out trade setup, which always occurs when we start the day inside the range, try to go out, and then come right back in. So don't forget about that setup. We'll be watching that today on Crude. Second thing we see here today is this narrow range coming out of London. This is very concerning. This is a little bit strange. We saw a resolution for Syria overnight. We saw very strong news reports coming out of the EU overnight. Why on earth are we in the middle of this range? Forget about the positive news. Just the resolution for Syria, which allows us to strike in Syria, you would think would be pushing this price higher. No. Now we just got positive news out of Europe. This is the first positive news we've seen in what feels like a decade. And we're in the middle of the range? Doesn't make any sense. So this tells me whenever I think, this doesn't quite add up, that usually tells me to be very, very aware that something is coming. This tells me we're probably dealing with a little bit of analysis paralysis. How do we react to that resolution in Syria? In my humble opinion, I think the U.S. traders just haven't opened the newspaper yet today. I think these U.S. traders are going to come in after 8 o'clock today, and they're going to start pushing this bad boy around. So I'm very, very surprised. It's almost a good thing because it's giving us a chance to position ourselves ahead of the move this morning. Moving forward now, over to our anchor charts here, my slowest of my anchor chart time frames, I can see we have major resistance at 109.17 and 108.23. And if you're asking right now, Joe, is that the same chart from yesterday? Yeah, it's the same exact chart from yesterday. Nothing's changed. 109.17 to 108.23, that's my major resistance. I've got trend line resistance here overhead. You can see that clearly has reacted. And now We've got this bullish trend that was just made, but now we're below the cloud. Guys, this is looking at a reversal here. Right away here, the 5400 tick chart tells me look out below for a possible reversal on crude oil this morning. I move forward now to an 1800 tick chart, and I can see almost identical, same level of resistance overhead, same trend line to be worried about overhead, right? Same reasons to be concerned about buying right now. I'm definitely worried about buying here into this resistance with all this wide open space below me to get short. You can see we're just about to collapse. We're just about to change direction. We're going to go from green to red, and I had projected today on our blog at 107.53 with a new lower low there. We then look great here to start looking for those short trades here. So we are right on the verge of collapsing here on crude, if you ask for my opinion. And of course, I can already see here in the short term now, we're ready to get selling short. We are ready to pull the trigger here to the short side. I've already got the change in direction on the short-term time frame this morning. Now all we need here is that pattern. You can see the bearish channel. This is a perfect spot right now to be getting short. I'll be looking for shorts here as we go lower. Remember, we do have 8:30 news this morning. That 8:30 news may shake things up a little bit today. And don't be surprised if we see an early morning whoop change direction and go higher here. Because again, I personally think that these U.S. traders haven't picked up the newspaper yet today to read what all of us have been talking about since 7 a.m. So keep an eye out, keep an eye here on the price action this morning. If they pick up that newspaper this morning and all hell breaks loose to the upside, we know why. All right? You heard it here first. Now, I'm anxious to see, I'm going to watch this here for the entry short on crude. I'm anxious to see here, though, what's Marty seeing? What's the floor look like right now? Are we busy out there on the floor? Are these pit traders, Marty? Are they back from break yet? What's going on? What's the attitude on the floor? Is everybody watching Syria like we think they are? Or what's the personality out there, Marty? How are we doing today?
So JJ, like I was saying, personality on the trading floor has been a little quiet. Again, we're kind of fading off the high prints from yesterday. Remember, we had that 108.75 Friday's high, yesterday's high, and we really weren't able to get up above that level. So now we're kind of just pulling back. Okay, as far as a resolution, I mean, you got both sides agreeing to this plan that Obama put into play, right? He said no more than 90 days worth of airstrikes or missile attacks, no troops on the ground, right? 30-day extension. We have both sides agreeing to this, but honestly, I mean, I guess Congress still has to vote it through. Maybe that's why we haven't seen a rally. I'm not sure yet, but we're going to have to really watch that because maybe the market could explode at any time. But just watching from yesterday's activity, remember that 108.75 level from yesterday was the high from yesterday, right? And as we had the high from yesterday just kind of struck, and now we're just trading below it. We want to watch 108.75 today very closely, right? We're just below it this morning. I'll pull up the charts in just a sec here, right? We're kind of below it this morning, and we're still battling around this 108 even level, so we'll kind of depend open today, but you really want to watch that resistance up above yesterday's high, Friday's high, kind of that double top, right? Let's get to just real quickly our sentiment here. So far this morning we've been watching across the board, right? We have crude RBOB, heating oil, Brent WTI spread, all kind of pointing a little bit lower here as we fade off the high prints this morning. We have your dollar actually a little bit lower too, which is a little concerning, right? Dollar's lower. We have, besides that dollar being lower, we have euro higher, right? All of our commodity currencies kind of looking rather slim, right? Slim to none here. It's kind of off the board if you look at the rest of the supporting markets. Let's move on over to the spreads now. The spreads have been actually looking a little firm, which has been holding crude back and trading us below 108 even. And if these spreads continue to widen out, right, if we see 750 on the Brent WTI spread today, yeah, we're going to sell off it. I'll bet you we'll probably get close to 106 if we continue to see that spread widening, because right now, what is it in backwardation by what, 20, 25 cents, 30 cents? We're almost 740 on the spread. So watch for that Brent WTI spread. Front month calendar spreads as well, getting a little bit of a light offer in those markets. They're kind of softening up just a bit as well. Real quickly, I just want to kind of look at the natural gas. Natural gas is very interesting yesterday. And look, we find ourselves at the high of the range from yesterday, actually exceeding yesterday's high. So this is interesting. Well, 370 is going to be our level, which we're right at basically. 370. I really want to watch this level because initially in the options they were kind of buying that put, right? They were buying 370 puts. They were interested in selling the higher end of the range. And I really want to see what happens at 370. Personally, I was saying I was a seller at 370, but if we get some type of strength here above 370 and we can stay above yesterday's range, then that will give us obviously opportunities to come in a buyer. But I think that we can sell the high end of the range, right? 370 is just the resistance above the range, and like I said, in the options, they nailed that strike to downside. Looking over into our levels, I guess, real quickly here. Again, we're going to do a rather quick wrap here today. Looking at our levels real quickly here, I kind of want to point out a couple things first, right? Crude. Yesterday's pit session high was at 108.83, right? Close to the 108.75. A little bit of stop running there, but you can see how that resistance holds. So that's going to be major resistance for us today, and I would like to sell that level. We might not even make it up to that level, but if we do, I would really like to sell it. Low from yesterday, 107, even still within the range from yesterday. As you can see, we're just trading around that 108, right? Yeah, 108. Daily pivot today, 108.13, right? Settlement from yesterday, 108.55. I got resistance up above at 109.25, 109.95, and 111.77 now. Right, if we do get a close and settle, let's just talk about this geopolitical risk, right? And we happen to get a big geopolitical buying again like yesterday, and we happen to get up above 109.10, right? 109.25, 109.40. We got to close and settle above those levels. That will be very bullish, and that could definitely push the market higher. So keep that in mind. But major resistance right here at 108.85. You know, I don't mean to put my foot in my mouth, but that could really kind of stop us. We might not even be able to get up above there. So just remember about that 108.75 level. Again, we ran into it a couple times over the last week and haven't gotten able to get up above it. Support down below, I got 107.43, 106.31, and 104.49. Take a look at the options too. Again, we've been seeing some moderate call buying. I saw Novi 115s trade over like 10,000 times yesterday, so that was a big strike that traded. Yeah, Novi 115s, I saw ACH 110s, ACH 112s, and ACH 114s all trade. They were pretty aggressive, like 5,000 to 2,000, so, right, you know, more calls opposed to put buyers. Volatility has been on the rise and still is holding around 30%. The OVX gets up to 29.5, so we've been watching volatility rising as well with this market as we kind of been drifting a little bit higher, but now it's like we're fading that high just a bit, so we have to watch volatility on the open, right? Natural gas, right? Volatility has been rising in the natural gas, by the way, too. Largest strikes that were traded, really all these 350s and 360s up to the 370, and that's where they had the most put activity yesterday, 370. So I'm guessing we can sell the high, sell these 370s this morning. Again, we're above yesterday's high of 368.30. Low, 363.70. Closing settlement number 366.70. Daily pip 366.20 right near the settlement number, which we are well above this morning. We're up by our second level of resistance right here. As you can see, look at this. First level is 368.70, 370.80, and 375.40. As we sit right next to this R2, it looks like we're going to try to be selling this high, right? Selling the 370s. Support down below 364.10, 361.60, and 357 even. And that's really about it, guys. Again, we're just going to be watching for this natural gas to sell these highs. We're going to obviously come in and try to watch where this crude opens up. Again, it's really important to see where we open up near this 108 or not, and then we want to see if we can bust up above the 108.75. If not, then we're going to be selling that high, as it's going to be like the third day now that held. So that's really it, guys. That's all I have. I guess what we'll do is throw it back on over to JJ, right? We'll talk a little bit more about the soap opera. That's kind of unfolding. And
I know, right? I heard Putin and Obama are going to be meeting in Russia. That should be an exciting should be an exciting meeting. Maybe I'll head out to Russia and join in for the festivities. Can you imagine that meeting right now? Oh my goodness. Well, it's only getting warmed up right now, guys. We're going into the end of the year. I mean, we got to have something to talk about here before we go into the old debt ceiling and fiscal cliff discussion at the end of the year, right? So expect this to be on our radars for the next few weeks. I can't imagine this issue in Syria is going to disappear. We can look at it one way. One way to look at this, a trader's vantage point on this would be bring it on. You know, the more opportunities we have for politicians to stick their foot in their mouths, the more opportunities we have for violence and volatility. Well, bring it on, guys. Higher highs, lower lows. We don't care what direction it's going as long as it's moving. And that's exactly what we're going to be getting here this week. A shortened week here, first week back after the summertime doldrums. Don't forget, we got 8:30 a.m. news this morning. We got 2 p.m. this afternoon, Beige Book. Shortened week here, so be on your toes, guys. And again, from what Marty and I both are seeing right now, a very suspicious lull in the action ahead of this U.S. morning bell at 9 o'clock on Crude after seeing the resolution that we saw overnight coming out of Syria. All right, guys, have a wonderful, wonderful day out there. Don't forget to shoot us an email. That's JJ at School of Trade or Marty at TradersAudio.com. Would you like an invite to be a part of tomorrow's broadcast? Would you like to see anything added to our broadcast? Do you like everything? Do you hate everything? I'd love to know about it. Shoot me an email. Let me know if you'd like an invitation to tomorrow's broadcast or if you have any great feedback for us. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Same place, same time, 7:30 a.m. right here for our crude oil morning prep. Have a wonderful day out there. Don't forget to learn it so you can earn it. And we'll catch you guys here at same place, same time tomorrow. Adios, amigos. Bye-bye for now.